Vikings were that team last year. This year it's the Houston Texans. The best team in the NFL that nobody ever sees. Every game at 1 o'clock Eastern, although the footprint this past weekend when they moved from 4:05 to 1 o'clock was much larger and more people saw Texans-Broncos. We may see plenty of them in the postseason, Myles. And I don't know. Is it sustainable to keep pulling a rabbit out of your hat? Like, all these games are so close, and it is great when you can kind of will it your way and when you develop a knack for making it happen your way. But it's always better to win by 2 scores if you can.
Oh, well, yes, it certainly is. But I think this is a team with a new head coach, right? You got a new quarterback. You've got a lot of guys that are developing and they're growing together and they're getting more confidence. So as a first year thing, yeah, I don't see much of a problem with it. I don't know if you get to the postseason, if you can really start continuing to pull the rabbits out of your rear end, right? But for now, as you are learning, as you're continuing to grow, this helps build confidence that you can do it, right? When it's crunch time, when you really have to settle in and make the play, you understand that you can do it because you've done it before. So I think for a team that's growing right now, I don't see any problem with it. Keep stacking the wins however you can.
Worked perfectly well for the Vikings last year until it didn't in the wild card round against the New York Giants when they lost in crunch time instead of won. All right, take your pick. Week 13. Which potential AFC wildcard team made a bigger statement this weekend? The Houston Texans in their win over the Broncos or the Indianapolis Colts in that roller coaster ride led by Gardner Minshew against the Titans?
I would say the Texans, mainly because they beat one of the hottest teams in football in the Denver Broncos, right? I mean, this is a team that had come in playing really, really well. I mean, they beat the Browns the week before, and the Browns have been playing well all season long. So, look, I think that what the Texans are doing right now is a little bit more sustainable than what the Colts are doing, in large part because of the quarterback. CJ Stroud just is not as turnover prone as Gardner Minshew is. It's not as much of a roller coaster with him. Now, without Tank Dell, that's a significant loss for the Texans, but I think that they still have a way that they're going to be able to win. And the other thing about this is, Mike, I mean, when you beat one of the teams that's also competing for the wild card spot that you're competing with, and yeah, I know there are 3 spots, but just go with me here, that helps you, right? It gives you another bit of a tiebreaker. So in those ways, I think that really does help out the Texans and gives them more of a statement.
Yeah, that Titans-Colts game, a little too frenetic, a little too unpredictable, a little too reliant on special teams, not offense, defense, for the Colts to get that win. It felt like a game they should have lost. It felt like a game they were going to lose. You take away the block punt followed by the block punt that wasn't even a block punt because the punter was disrupted before he could even kick the ball. And then the missed extra point that would have delivered victory quite possibly for the Titans because the punter's also the holder and Ryan Tannehill had to hold and he didn't get the ball in the right spot and the kick was hooked. Those are the kinds of fluky things you don't want to have to rely on because they're not going to happen on a regular basis for the Colts. And the other thing about roller coasters, this is why roller coasters aren't good for the Colts and Gardner Minshew. You know why? The last time he was on one, he lost his cigarettes. They fell out of his pocket on the roller coaster. That was for you.
I don't ride roller coasters.
We don't know whether or not. We don't know. You know what? I used to ride roller coasters. I used to love roller coasters. I loved it. Everything about it. It was great because you feel safe in that thing.
No, you don't.
And then something happened. Oh, I do. I feel safe. And you're locked in. You're strapped in. Gravity holds you in place. But it's a fun Cedar Point. You grew up not that far, right? It's kind of a little bit of a drive to Sandusky.
No, but
Cedar Point's awesome. But when I turned 40 a long time ago, my son was into roller coasters because we used to go to Kennywood Park near Pittsburgh, and he rode a roller coaster one day, and he realized he loved it. He was about 7 or 8 years old. And so we were on this roller coaster kick. So my 40th birthday, the family goes up to Cedar Point, and we started riding roller coasters, and I got off one, and I was like Poppy on Seinfeld. I got to go sit down. I was like, something happened to my brain. Something happened to my equilibrium. I can't ride those damn things anymore. So I think roller coasters are made for people under the age of 40 because the moment I turned 40 and tried to ride one, it messed me up, and I've never ridden one again. So Anyway,
the last time I was on a roller coaster was at the Santa Cruz Boardwalk, and it was one of those wooden things, and I ended up in tears, and I was 21 years old. And at that point, I said, no more roller coasters for me.
Don't they have vampires at the Santa Cruz Boardwalk?
I don't know,
Is that
man.
Santa
I don't
Cruz?
know.
Lost
I
Boys.
don't
Have you
know.
never seen the Lost Boys?
No, I don't know what you're talking
The thing
about.
I hate about this town, too many damn vampires. All right. Which potential NFC wildcard team proved they can be more dangerous? Your LA Rams or the Green Bay Packers, Myles?
Oh, I'm definitely going with the Packers. Look, aside from Dak Prescott, I don't know that any quarterback has been playing over the last 3 weeks better than Jordan Love. I really don't. I mean, going back to that game against the Chargers where, look, he just started to see more dynamic. So you look at his numbers right now, 69% of his passes he's completed for 857 yards, 8 touchdowns, no picks, no lost fumbles either. He's getting 7.9 yards per attempt over the last 3 games, a 116.9 passer rating, which would lead the league right now if you extend that over the course of the regular season, just better than Brock Purdy. So look, if Jordan Love keeps playing like this at an elite level, not only are they going to make the playoffs, they might win a game, right? 3-6 matchup between the Lions and the Packers potentially. I mean, I might like the Packers in that one, Mike.
Hey, and I am a huge Jordan Love fan. I have been so disappointed by the members of our profession who have just dissed him, not given him a fair chance to learn the game. He's been the one innocent bystander in this entire, whatever profane term you want to apply, that occurred between Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. Everybody else was there by choice. Jordan Love got drafted into that mess. He had to sit there like Jesse Pinkman with the glass of water between Walter White and Skyler at the dinner table and just figure out, why am I here? What am I doing? Right? And then he gets thrust into the fray when Aaron Rodgers finally leaves, and everybody expects him to be the next Green Bay Packer Hall of Fame quarterback. And I expected from the hot take artists like Colin Cowherd, who as recently as October 23rd was proclaiming to the world that Jordan Love can't play, before the season. Our friend Adam Shine, who is by no means a hot take artist, he was all in on the Jordan Love can't play. This is going to be a disaster. Give the kid a freaking chance. He's in the worst possible position you could imagine. We wonder why quarterbacks stink in the NFL. We put them in these difficult positions. They have no choice over where they're going to start their careers. They get drafted. Oh, it's an honor and a privilege. Yeah, it's an honor and a privilege to be put in an unwinnable situation. It has pissed me off to no end that people have added to the unreasonable pressure on this kid by saying he can't play. And I love it that he's sticking it in all their faces. Even as a lifetime devotee of the Minnesota Vikings, I love what the Packers are doing. I love what Jordan Love is doing. And I hope they make the playoffs, and I'd rather they make the playoffs than the Vikings, because I think with Jordan Love, the Packers are in a better spot to go to the playoffs and win. The Vikings will be one and done. The Packers, like you said, if it's 3-6, Packers going into Ford Field, I'll take Jordan Love over Jared Goff right now, Myles.
Oh, I would too. I mean, based on the way that those two guys have been playing over the last few weeks, absolutely. Jared Goff has been turning the ball over more, and that's part of why the Rams wanted to get rid of him in the first place, speaking of the LA Rams. But yeah, I like the way Jordan Love is playing. I love the way that Matt LaFleur has gotten more confidence in him over the course of the regular season. And he needed some time to just get into the rhythm of being a pro quarterback and being a starting quarterback week after week. And that's why you really need a season to evaluate those things. So, also shout out to Matt LaFleur, still undefeated in December as a head coach. I think he's done a great job there.
I don't want to pick on Colin Cowherd unreasonably, but at times I feel like he says so many outlandish things, we just ignore any of the things he says. Like certain former presidents who just say outlandish shit and nobody ever says anything about it. I don't know, George H.W.
What's
Bush.
next
I don't know.
on the rundown?
But
whose loss raised
listen,
more?
Listen. Here's what Colin Cowherd said October 23rd. We can't let this crap go. We can't let this go. Here's what he said. We're 6 games into Jordan Love. The only people defending him are adult men who wear cheese heads in the fall. It's obstructing your view. Get another hat. he can't play. Watch how Matt LaFleur calls a game. He doesn't trust him to throw the ball down the field. He's just not accurate. That's Colin Cowherd, October 23rd. So, Jordan Love, stick it up all their butts. Keep doing what you do. Go, Pack, go. I'm ordering a cheesehead as soon as this show ends today. All right,
I'm telling Paul Allen.
That's okay. He'll be fine.
Ordering a cheesehead.
Which loss raised more red flags? The Chiefs losing to my Green Bay Packers or the Eagles getting blown off the field by the San Francisco 49ers?
Look, I think it's the Chiefs because at this point it's December and this is who the Chiefs are, right? I know that Patrick Mahomes told Peter King in Germany after that game that they beat the Dolphins. Look, we're going to get this offense fixed. I promise you. But there's only so much that Patrick Mahomes can do, Gisele Bundchen, the former Mrs. Brady, once said, my husband cannot throw and catch the ball at the same time. And maybe Brittany Mahomes should be turning and looking at Taylor Swift in that suite and being like, hey, why can't your man get these pass catchers to actually do what they need to do? I mean, what is Patrick Mahomes going to do when Sky Moore stops a route on the outside? Why are you doing that, bro? Why are you stopping your route? I mean, how is Patrick Mahomes going to fix Marquez Valdez-Scantling's hands? I don't know how he's going to do that. How is he going to make Kadarius Toney be more productive? I don't know. So, the Chiefs were in control of the outcome in the AFC. If they had just won out, then they would be the number 1 seed. Now they're back at number 3. Who knows what that's going to end up as? I still think they win that division, but the Chiefs have a lot of issues going into the postseason. And right now it's an offseason problem that you cannot solve with 5 weeks left because no magical good pass catcher is just going to appear on your roster. So for me, it's absolutely the Chiefs.
It's still amazing that since Patrick Mahomes became the starter in 2018, the Chiefs have not played a postseason game on the road, other than obviously the Super Bowl, which is always neutral site. But when you consider the rest of the AFC, I'm actually less troubled by what happened to the Chiefs than I am by the Eagles because the Eagles saw how the road's going to end for them. Their only hope is enough 49ers key players get injured. They're not winning a rematch they're not. I'll go ahead. And you can call me out later if the Eagles pull it off.
I'm going to read these words back to you just like you just read Colin Cowherd. And if we get into January.
Trent Williams. Let me finish. So if you're going to read it back to me, let me give you the full statement. If Trent Williams, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, Brock Purdy, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, and Dre Greenlaw are healthy when it's time for a rematch, same thing's going to happen that we saw. They can't stop them. It was men against boys on Sunday. That is the thing that should resonate with the Eagles. And it's funny because people, there's a difference between the regular season and the postseason. Yeah, there is. But if you got all your same guys and it's not a close game, it's not a DeMeco Ryans Texans game that comes down to the final 30 seconds and we found a way to win. You got your ass kicked. The 49ers are the best team in football right now. So my point is the Chiefs don't have a 49ers equivalent in the AFC that they have to worry about. They just have to worry about themselves. Yeah. The Eagles now have to worry about the 49ers. And their hope is, and it's not all that outlandish to think that the 49ers are going to get some guys banged up because they play that way. It very well could happen that they have a rematch and the Eagles win because the 49ers are down some of their key players. Hell, look at what happened last year. 49ers would have beaten them, I believe, if they don't lose Brock Purdy early in the game to that elbow injury. So that's why they play the games. And it doesn't matter. There's no asterisk applied to how you win. You win or you lose. They could still do it. But I'm more concerned about them because full strength, both teams, it's a no-brainer. It's a no contest. 49ers, clearly the better team right now when healthy. All right.
Yeah, well, the 49ers...
I want to give you a chance to talk before I take a break.
Okay, well, the 49ers are the best team in football when healthy. They beat anybody.
They beat anybody handily. That's the key. And in an age where everybody's kind of packed together and these teams that we had written off are kind of rising back up because all you have to do is win a couple of games in a row and all of a sudden you're back in it. The 49ers, I'm going to debut the new power rankings after the show. Last week, Eagles were 1 and 49ers were 2. This week, 49ers 1 and Eagles 2. But there's a gap. There's nobody better than the Eagles, and the gap between the Eagles and the 49ers is 42-19. The 49ers are the best by far right now in the NFL, and everybody else is just hanging around waiting to see if something cracks, pops, fractures, whatever, on enough of their key players, that they're that team that lost 3 games in a row, Browns, Vikings, Bengals, back in October. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.